We're going to go over the ACT Reading Natural Science passage, An Anthropologist on Mars. If you're going to just follow along with the video, be sure to pull up your copy of the text. There are two categories on the ACT Reading, reference and inference, and natural science falls into the reference category. You'll see it's at that far end of the reference. It's a very organized, usually logical passage. And because of that, any one of our three primary strategies will work on natural science. Your task, remember, is to figure out how to best navigate through the test. The goal is not to answer every question. The goal is to maximize correct answers in the given time, which is one of the stressors. The shortcuts for this passage lets you have some tools that can help you. Just quick reminder, read and answers if you have enough time. So you need about 8.5 minutes per passage. So if you get to this passage, have 8.5 minutes, read and answer the question. If you have difficulty remembering what you read, or you're reading quickly and you need to quickly summarize what you read, Google Summary works. Mapping is a fantastic tool to have if you get to the end of the test and don't have enough time to read and answer. So you're going to read the first paragraph, read the first sentence of each paragraph, the topic sentence, underline keywords as you go, and then go to the questions. You can map the questions also, but I find that takes more time than is beneficial for most students. But some of our other videos talk about mapping the questions. Let's go through how some of these strategies will look on this passage. Let's first try Google Summary. On your passage, beside each paragraph, write 1 to 3 words to summarize what happened in that paragraph. For my first paragraph, I wrote health, disease, adaptation. Then I wrote creative disease. Wrote new paths, unexpected growth. Then I wrote tumors, deaf, blinds, and I drew an arrow because it's talking about those new paths. Then I wrote unique plus, and I drew an arrow again. And then I wrote dynamic brain adapts, redefine norms, sickness to life, patient realities, and explore house calls. Now yours might look a little bit different than mine. We don't have to have the same Google summaries, but the purpose is to help you understand what you just read and remember what to look back at. Now let's talk about what mapping might look like in this text. For mapping, I'm underlining thesis statements, topic sentences, and keywords. So for mine, I underline the thesis statement. The next paragraph, I underline the whole sentence. You see bits and pieces. Some of these are long sentences in this particular passage. But I am just underlining the keywords of the topic sentences as I go to remind me of what I read. I'm not Google summarying, although I could combine these two strategies, but mapping is what I'm trying to get through very fast. So I'm probably not going to write anything out the side, because if I'm using this strategy, it's because I'm running short of time. When we look at the questions, we can see that 9 of the 10 questions are pretty easy to find. 36 is the only one that's a little bit tricky, and maybe 32 if you didn't recognize that in the mapping. I want to quickly remind you of the types of questions because we're going to discuss these as we go through the questions. You have knowledge and idea questions. These are the ones that are comprehension. Did you understand what you just read? You have integration of knowledge questions. You understood what you read, and can you take it a bit deeper? And then you have craft and structure questions, which are asking why is the author doing something, or in what way did what the author did impact the reading. So question 31 is an integration of knowledge and ideas question. The quotation used in line 32 to 41, so that's here, so that's that long quotation, is used in this passage to support what idea? So the quotation talks about, and my label is unique plus, a handicapped child with qualitatively different and unique development, and that uniqueness transforms the minus of a handicap into a plus. So that really fits choice D, positively and distinctive ways. I think I would have even gotten that from my Google summary, unique plus. Number 32, the author of the passage refers to the work of Laurie and Vygotsky. So that's here. to underscore what idea? Well, we just interacted with this, and it actually tells us directly in the text. We just read that. A handicapped child with qualitatively different, unique development. So H, it says it directly in the question. It's a craft and structure question. Actually, it seems more like a key idea question even, just finding what it means. Question 33, lines 42 to 53, suggests that prior to Laria's research, medical researchers have thought of the brain as. So my Google summary said dynamic brain adapts. So before that, and we can look at the quote to see, they thought it was static. Static means unchanging. So a little bit of a vocabulary question there. So B. Number 34, as it is used in line 41, the word compensation most nearly means. This uniqueness transforms the minus of a handicap into the plus of compensation. And we can see my Google summary says unique plus. Yours might have been similar. So that means that you're taking what might be a difficult situation and turning it into something positive through adaptation. You got to think about what the others mean. That's how you solve these questions. Payment would mean to provide monetary payment for something. Differentiation would mean to do something different, and disposition would be a proclivity for something. So a little bit of a vocabulary question, craft and structure, but your answer is J, because at its core, this is about developing, adapting to a situation. The main purpose of lines 54 to 69 is to show what? I wrote it as to redefine norm. So how, why, when, or which, right? So we're redefining. So it looks like it's going to be choice A or D. D says norm, but it says which of his subjects, which isn't mentioned. But how he came to think differently about the brain is what's going on, how the author came to redefine the norms. So the answer is A. Now, if you were mapping, you might not get number 36, but if you were Google summarying, I see that the idea about the effects of a disease on individual patients in the next to last paragraph. And it says, the study of disease for a physician demands the study of identity, the inner worlds of patients, which is in choice H. Examine the ways people learn to live with disease in their daily lives. The last paragraph suggests the author's main reason for leaving the hospital. So I wrote he wanted to explore, make house calls. So we see that it says in the text in line 79, explore subjects' lives as they live in the real world. So he doesn't want to feel more like a physician. He doesn't want to become an important part of the real world. He wants to understand his patients better. So choice C. The paradox mentioned in the second paragraph is best described by which of the following statements? So it's talking about latent powers, evolutions, the creative power of disease, which it's mentioned in choice G. Serious illness can lead directly to previously unthought yet productively developmental change. So creative disease. So choice G. As it is used in line 15, the word ravages means, and it says one may be horrified by the ravages of developmental disorder or disease. They destroy paths. So which one most fits that? Destructive action. Choice D. And number 40, the word miracle in line 52 most specifically refers to the ways in which. So we see in line 52 and before it, the brain is differentiated. There are tiny areas crucial for every aspect of perception. The miracle is how all the parts of the brain work together. So the brain works together, choice H. Okay, so hopefully you're figuring out your pathway through this test. Do you need to map? Do you need a Google summary? Can you just read an answer? Decide what works best for you in the time you have. Reach out if you have any questions.